There really is no surer path to the top than through the team that is already sitting on the throne, right?
Faker is League of Legends. He's the first one in the Hall of Fame, you know, still playing at the top of his game.
This is Worlds, this is T1. This is where they live. They love this place.
There's no better chance for BLG to establish themselves amongst the very best ever from the LPL and amongst the very best ever in LoL esports.
Zeus locked up towards the top side, already 4 for naught for BLG, as they are looking to take us to match point.
BLG have come into this series looking nothing but confident.
BLG likely going to look towards their mid here. Makes sense, get the Smolder in for Knight.
The second Smolder gets locked in, you are on a clock.
Carrier has no flash, but Knight has one to chase. Carrier escaping on 100 HP, but On will not give him that luxury. BLG find 3 in the top side.
Smolder's coming online and they can actually start to turn around these fights. Maybe game 4 is where they finally put the LCK to rest.
That play right there might change the course of this series. It's the reason why this is such a good pairing as the arrow goes wide, but Faker's still here.
Take a look at that flank, will seal away the quickness from On. Gets Chillon flashes in, finds 2. Equalizer on the back line as well. As Faker is knocked off this earth. He finds the engage. He finds everything T1 were looking for.
One moment, one engage changed League of Legends history. One split-second decision knocked Faker another tier up the ladder of true, unending godhood. But it almost never came to be. Despite winning Worlds in 2023 and losing ever so narrowly the year before that, Faker and T1 faltered in 2024. They went from falling 1 match short of winning Spring to not making the MSI final to being 1 win short of even making it to Worlds. Summer hadn't been kind to them, and one of the reasons for that was that Faker's own performance was becoming a little inconsistent.
Let's press the attack for Showmaker as well.
He's getting pretty low, but Faker's gonna explode. That's just first blood. Showmaker just gonna kill him?
That's clean.
But they keep this leash. Faker just gonna...
That's not.
Yeah, just gonna dash into 5 people, I guess.
Yeah, it's still interesting. It's not over yet, but Genji making the plays.
Yeah, they're trying to isolate this front line, actually, trying to get on top of the Mordekaiser, but now Faker gonna go into the fight and immediately just die as Toby will take him down and punish Faker in the mid lane.
The pressure that fans put on Faker has always been insane, but it paled in comparison to the pressure he was putting on himself. The community wondered if Faker was better off taking a break, but instead, he doubled his efforts and led T1 to Worlds by the skin of their teeth.
Is that gonna be enough? Perfect, he goes in trying to stall, but the Nexus turrets are falling!
Def can't get the angle!
They're just trying to do it. T1, they want to go to Worlds. Will they be able to? All they gotta do is take down the Nexus, and they will get the job done. You will be seeing T1 at Worlds. You will have Faker there for the 9th time.
After such a shaky year, many weren't sure what to expect from T1. But as soon as they got rolling, they looked unstoppable.
Faker off on the side, looking to lock up out, forcing the flash. Protobelt flash forward from Carrier. The lockup is there. Oak's got nowhere left to go. They don't quite catch Knight. Knight now versus the world, but there is Faker to finish the job alongside Zeus. T1 dominating in this mid to late game.
You've got a GA on Gumayushi, you've got Faker with the Spirit Rush, the curtains open. I don't think G2 is getting a second act. The dive onto the backline by Yike, but immediately he is low. Cap's already assassinated on the back, and T1 are just ripping them to shreds. T1 absolutely melting G2 under their Nexus towers. History doesn't repeat itself, but it damn well rhymes. It's another Friday, it's another T1 win.
This is Worlds, this is T1. This is where they live. They love this place.
The question was, how far could that carry T1?
Now the turn back, the bullet time, an equalizer of their own. Ulti coming in, Jackie Love about to fall. Carrier going to the wall, it's a little bit over eager. TS still standing, Jackie Love still standing, double lady carry. But Faker in the clutch, the arm guard, he goes golden, he buys a moment. TN perfect timing, but it does not matter because here comes Guma, baby. Silence coming through, T1 takeover.
Hook not gonna connect. Mako taunted. Wind becomes lightning. Fighting in the choke though. Difficult to get Skooma, who does so much work. Easy kill pick up. TS! Caught napping! T1 obliterate them in the blink of an eye. Jovi's got a cask at the ready. It is going to be Ona denying that soul, and now T1 starting off the fight. Can Genji actually find an angle as hostile takeover comes in? Carrier, he's tried to bail himself out, and it's going to work for now. The Impale is good. They take down Carrier, but can they deal with the carries? That's the question. Jovi starting to pop up, and so is Komayushi. Jovi's cut down. More arrows into his back, and he knows that it's done. Flashing forward. It's a triple for Goomer, and that should be the game.
He still hasn't died!
T1 can bide their time. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp going to come out. The arrow connecting on Ona. Chains of Corruption just try and buy some space with the flash. Under Faker, the knock-up, and he's dead. Pieces arrows follow him into the death chamber as the Impale is decent. Ona's still alive. He's so tanky, and it's Komayushi taking matters into his own hands. The spears go wide, and the party goes down. It's a double kill for the Skarner, and Jovi's still alive. There's a bit of damage, but he gets over the wall, flashes, but the bone skewer finds him. The shutdown for Goomer and T1. They want to go to London. It is Goomer that's able to melt these turrets, and Genji for the last 2 years have been the kings of Korea, but we know the world is T1's home ground. From barely qualifying to bulldozing their way through groups, quarters, and semis, T1 did the unthinkable, securing their spot in a 3rd consecutive Worlds final. But winning it seemed unimaginable. BLG were the biggest threat the LPL had to offer. Simply put, they looked to be a cut above Faker. The days of the Demon King single-handedly carrying his teammates over the finish line were long gone. But if T1 were gonna take this trophy, they would need their leader to step up, to tip the scales, to inspire his roster to believe the way he always had. Because the second the series started, it did not look like it would be T1's for the taking.
But BLG continue to advance. The first Nexus tower's down. Faker's back up. Trying to find something out of this game, trying to find some defense against BLG, but the oncoming masses are just too damn strong. An arm into the wall. Baker's fate is sealed as he dives the backline and dies for it. BLG come out swinging and take game 1.
They got destroyed in game 1. T1 bounced back in game 2, only to get rocked even harder in game 3. At this point, it did seem as if T1 finally may have met their match, as if their crazy Cinderella run might finally have run out of steam. But Faker refused to go out like this, not without putting up a fight. By the 20-minute mark of Game 4, the match was sitting on a razor's edge for T1. If things continued uncontested, Knight's Smolder would take over the game single-handedly. Someone on T1 needed to take initiative, turn the tide, pull the match and series in their favor. And that's exactly what Faker did.
Well, I also do have to say, I'd be willing to bet a lot that this will not be a 27-minute game ending, especially with BLG having Smolder plus a Ziggs. The reason why this is such a good pairing as the arrow goes wide, but Faker's still here.
Take a look for that flank. We'll seal away the quickness from on guess. Chillon flashes in, finds 2. Equalizer on the back line as well. As Faker is knocked off this earth. He finds the engage. He finds everything T1 were looking for.
Now, like all historic plays, both the stage and stakes were set long before the play itself. In fact, the first thing you need to understand doesn't involve the play at all. It involves the draft. You see, BLG saw their opportunity to take the title before the game even began. They put their star mid laner Knight on Smolder, one of the safest but most contentious picks of the tournament. Smolder's passive gives him a stack of dragon practice every time he uses an ability. Those stacks in turn empower his abilities, and once he reaches the magic number of 225 stacks, it imbues his Q with an execute, which instantly kills enemies at low enough health. Once Smolder reaches that fateful number, there isn't a ton of counterplay. The game is basically over. The Smolder player will win. What this means is that by picking Smolder, BLG effectively put T1 on a timer. If T1 couldn't close out the game before Smolder got his stacks, BLG would win Worlds. Knowing that, T1 tried to leverage an early lead into a fight near the top tower. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way they planned.
And he pops the locket, but he will go pop burst. BLG starting to turn this one on T1's heads. They found two. Carrier has no flash, but Knight has one to chase. Carrier escaping on 100 HP, but On will not give him that luxury. BLG find three in the top side.
And just like that, BLG punished the aggression from T1.
Not only did T1 fail to win the fight, but they lost tempo, a tower, and 4 bodies in the process, one of which went the way of Smolder, giving him all-important gold.
That play right there might change the course of this series. BLG with Knight on the front lines with his Trinity Force Smolder completed.
T1 had backed themselves into a corner, and they knew it. It didn't matter that T1 were up 2 and eventually 3 dragons, or that they'd secured all 6 Void Grubs. If Smolder reached 225 stacks, the game was over. It was a race against time.
You would have had the Ziggs. The wave clear was just going to be way too much. It's kind of the benefit of having his Ziggs is just his ability to stall out a game. And then you would have had this Smolder coming online. The combined AoE team fight damage of these 2 carries was going to be absolutely absurd.
The other issue is that even if they could force a fight, T1 didn't really have a lot of means to get on top of the Smolder. Between Rumble, Poppy, Ashe, and Renata, there wasn't a ton of catch. The only champion on the team who could feasibly close the distance was Faker's Silas. And Faker knew that.
어차피 교전은 계속 좋아 우리가. 교전만 쫄지 말고 해보자. 얘네 좀 오버하는 경향이 있어서.
20 minutes into the game, Smolder was already at 172 stacks. It was only a matter of time before T1's fate was sealed. Gumayushi fired a Hail Mary Ashe arrow in an attempt to hit anyone, but it went wide. That left Faker to find the opening.
후가 없나 이거? 천천히 가는 중. 일단 뒤에서 가는 중. 애쉬공 한번 쏴볼래? 천천히 봐봐.
화살!
안 맞았고. 살짝 걸 수 있어.
Under a ward, in full view of his opponent, Faker was tasked with pulling off an impossible initiation. 3 enemy champions stood between Faker and the Smolder. What's more, Smolder had flash. If Faker was gonna reach Knight, he needed to use everything. That means sums, spells, and the champions in between. First, Faker used Abscond and Abduct to leap onto On's Rakan, canceling Rakan's knockup. Almost instantly, Faker then stole the Rakan ultimate and popped it right away to get movement speed and to charm On, so Faker couldn't be peeled away from the fight. But Faker was still far away from Smolder, and his team hadn't quite reached the fight. Faker dashes in with Hextech Rocket Belt, flashes forward, and instantly charms BLG's backline. Keria follows up with Hostile Takeover, locking them down as Zeus drops his equalizer, securing the fight in just 3 seconds.
Take a look for that flank. We'll seal away the quickness from On. Gets Charm, flashes in, finds 2. Equalizer on the back line as well. As Faker is knocked off this earth. He finds the engage. He finds everything T1 were looking for.
If Faker had flinched for a moment, this entire play would have failed dramatically. If he had mistimed his engage onto the Rakan and gotten knocked up, he likely would have died. If he hadn't perfectly used his stolen Rakan ult to charm On, he likely would have died. If he had misaimed his Rocket Belt and Flash onto the backlines, he'd be a sitting duck right in the middle of BLG's heaviest hitters.
And I think the incredible part of it all was when you looked into the comms later on, BLG knew it was happening. On is calling saying Faker is going to steal my ult, Faker is going to engage, and there was just nothing that they could do. And I think that's the force that Faker is in these moments, is there, you can see it coming, but there's just no stopping Faker. I think every LPL fan had their head in their hands, because it was just last year against JDG, Faker steps up and you think that maybe the LPL can win it again, and suddenly LCK shuts it down. So I think that was the moment my heart broke.
Faker's initial engage into the Renata ult, into the Poppy knockup, into Faker's second set of chains onto the Smolder created such a lethal combo that BLG had zero ability to fight back. This wasn't the play that won T1 Worlds, but it is the play that shook the series. T1 went on to win that game, and as soon as they did, Faker knew that this was now T1's series to lose.
T1 really needed something that was just going to blow the game open and blow the series open. And it had to be Faker.
And because of Faker, they didn't. When everything is on the line, when the stakes are at their highest and the battle seems impossible, many people rely on their instincts. They play not to lose, but seeing a chance to win it all or go down in a blaze of glory, Faker chose to put everything on the line for victory.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.